Okay, so question one is three things you took away from Barsky's text, chapters 6 through 8. For me, I really liked the mediation purity versus the blend of methods, and how like there are some people that are very strict on saying like you have to do like one specific type of mediation or things like that. I found that interesting, to stick to one, especially because so many families have like more than one issue going on at the same time too. Um, the other is um, that I liked the part about like mediation should be voluntary, and then they were talking about how like some people like it's a kind of forced first option, like in order to get like a trial or something like that, you have to do mediation. And I was wondering like if you just offered it as an option instead of like a forced thing, if it would go over better. Like even if you just be like, hey, this will look better to the judge, instead of being like this is a forced thing, I bet it would probably. I don't really like the fact that it's forced because I think that takes away from the whole aspect of mediation. And then I really liked the chart that it was like the comparison of mediation, social work, and law, because I was like, I also was wondering like how they overlap and things like that. So I like that I was able to see like the differences there and how it broke it down piece by piece.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. For me, I liked the part in, I think it was chapter 8, about the deconstruction and reconstruction when you're doing like narrative therapy. So like talking to people about like reconstructing your narratives, like if you have a very negative situation, like ways that you can like spin it more positively. And then I also, let's see. Oh, I thought it was interesting in the transformative approach how like clients control the process, and there was like a little portion that was like an example, and how like instead of the mediator like giving their like rules for like behaving well, basically it was more like the clients created their own rules, which I thought was kind of chaotic, because it seems like for me at least it seems like setting those like boundaries is like so helpful, but then in that approach you want it to be like the client is like taking control of the process. So like I get it, but also I don't know, I just like want to see it in action, basically. um and then the third thing, oh, I just liked like reading more about each of the individual approaches, because I feel like we've really just gotten like a view of maybe like one kind of mediation mainly, but then like in this chapter we got to like see the different varieties, which was helpful.
Um, I liked the chapter 6, I guess, which was the interest-based negotiation, because I think in my head I was kind of having trouble distinguishing between position focused and like interest based. Um, and for some reason, like it's just hard to distinguish between the two of those. So that was helpful. I also liked the table, honestly, that broke it down. Yeah, kind of like what you were saying about the law and social work and mediation. And then I also liked that it went over like the different kinds of mediation and stuff, because kind of like what you were saying, Sarah, like I feel like we kind of mostly went over like one uh type, or it was just kind of like this is just mediation, and so like knowing that there's different kinds was kind of interesting. But yeah, those were my three.
I was just going to say real quick, this meeting, because we talked at the beginning, is going to run out in 9 minutes. So I'm just going to record the first part here and save it, and then we'll record a second part, and I'll just upload both of them. Just letting you guys know. So we'll have to like when it hangs up, we'll all call back on the same account. Okay. The same link. Okay. Awesome. Thanks. All right, Caitlin, sorry.
You're good. So I also agreed that I don't know, I guess until this part I didn't realize that there were multiple styles of mediation. And I mean, really before this class, I knew nothing about mediation. So just hearing the different styles and stuff has been interesting. I thought that the transformative mediation was interesting in the sense that maybe putting it into play would be harder than in my head where it sounds good, because in my field placement when I do counseling, one of the things that I like is doing person-centered therapy, where it's kind of like the person gets to guide like how their therapy goes. And with a lot of my clients, I found that that's really effective, is just having them lead the way, and then like I can just guide them. And that's something that I didn't expect till I started doing that. And so I like this form of mediation since it's based on self-determination. But I can also see what you were saying, Sarah, about how without having the boundaries, like what if it becomes like a free-for-all, and if the parties are angry, I think it could be trickier. But I think I would like to believe that if they're able to do it in a way that they see fit, maybe it will feel more authentic to them and less forced. And that was another thing, is I didn't realize that the mediation thing was a forced thing. Again, I didn't really know that much about it. So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that I didn't know that, but it was one of those, when I read it, I was like, what, really? Yeah, so those are my takeaways.
So for question 2, it says, which of the first 4 videos were most interesting to you in this unit and why? For me, I really like the workplace mediation, because I liked how the mediator started with the individual mediation session, like see what both parties were feeling and like what they needed. And I really like how she was like, what do you need to resolve this and things like that. And it kind of allowed them to express their feelings without feeling like judged by the person that's causing the feelings towards them, because I feel like that can be a really awkward circumstance. And I think if I was doing it, I would really like to talk one-on-one first. And then I really enjoyed the 4 phases, because it really went in depth into the introduction, which I don't think we've really seen like one that was so in depth, and kind of like, even though it was one that was for like a legal type of mediation, it was so warm, and it was like, if you need to take a break, this is what we can do. Does anybody need to take medication? Things like that. And I really like that, because it made everyone feel like their needs were validated and kind of addressed everything before it came up. So it didn't seem like the person was trying to get out of it or something like that, if something did arise.
Yeah, I think probably my favorites were also the workplace and the 4 phases. I did really like the mediator in the 4 phases. I felt like she was extremely accommodating, like you were saying. And I liked, most of like the things she said, I tried to like replicate in my like mediation video, because I really appreciated like the way that she approached like communication. And then in the workplace one, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have anything amazing to say about it. I just felt like it was another good example. Basically, that's pretty much it.
I also really like the workplace conflict one, because I feel like even compared to like last module and stuff, I kind of feel like the way that it played out was more of like how I would do it, and like it just felt almost a little bit more real, like a real scenario. And like I feel like both parties kind of came into it, like I think because of that like individual session that we got to see, then I feel like when they came into it, then they like were ready to work towards mediation. And then I also really like the victim offender mediation video, just because even though it seemed like a little bit corny and stuff, then it kind of still played on that like restorative justice kind of thing, which I really like, just kind of having the opportunity for like actually letting people meet up and discuss what they're struggling, like both so that the offender can see like how they really did impact somebody, and then like the victim can really get like the answers that they want and stuff. Because I mean, I think they said it in the video, or like in the beginning of the video, that like people normally feel better when they actually get to like talk to, as opposed to like just having punishment for the offender. So I thought that that was really good. So.
For mine, I did like that part in the offender meeting. I think that the part that I found the most informative was at the end when they were giving the statistics, and that it was less likely for people to go out and commit another crime, or if they did it, less likely that it would be a violent crime, and that it seemed like it was, I guess, more like acceptance or closure on both of the parties by doing that. So I thought that that was helpful to see. I think that I like the work one the best too. I'm currently feeling a lot of anger towards my manager, so I think that that's why this work one probably resonated with me. But I definitely like watching it. Like, I felt like I was in the position of the woman, and you know, my manager was in the position of the man. And I think just like seeing how that was handled, and I did like the idea of them separating it, because even while watching it, I was like, oh, this would have been so much helpful, to be able to like tell the mediator, like, this is what she's actually like. And yeah, I thought that that was helpful. Each person could talk to them, the mediator, on their own, and then come together. So yeah, I think that's why I like that one the best.
Okay, so we only have like a little over a minute left, so I think I'm just going to end the recording, and then we all just call back and we'll start on question 3. Ready?
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.